Chosen one, beauty has always been more than a surface. It is a surface that tells on the depths. This month your reflection is brighter, not because the glass learned a new trick, but because your inner rooms have been cleaned and lit and aired out, and glass cannot help but tell the truth. Beauty is a mirror, and mirrors do three things when held rightly. They reveal, they return, and they refine. You are learning all three at once. When people stare a second longer, when conversations lean, when doors open with less knocking, it is not merely that the world is shallow. It is that your radiance is accurate. Your outside is confirming what the inside finally believes. Agreement reads as glow. But mirrors can lie when fear starts scripting them. Vanity turns the mirror into a judge, insecurity into a jury, attention into a verdict. Resist that old courtroom. Stand before your reflection like a sanctuary, not a stage. Ask it better questions than "Am I enough today?" Ask, "What is shining through me and why?" Ask, "What requires blessing and what requires boundary?" Ask, "Where do I see evidence that I am living at my true size?" You will be surprised at how a face can answer when the questions honor the soul. The kindness softening your mouth is new evidence. The unhurried gaze is new evidence. The posture that says, "I belong here" without conquering it, is new evidence. Beauty is not arguing for you, it is agreeing with you. Let the mirror do its second work, returning to you what you have given to others. Your glow is the harvest of 100 small fidelities. Sleep you finally defended, water you finally drank, scriptures you didn't rush, apologies you made before they turned sour, creative hours you protected from the scroll. People thought you were simply becoming more attractive. They did not see the liturgy of your choices. The mirror returns those choices as light so you will not grow cynical about consistency. It says, "Look what happens when you keep showing up for yourself." Receive that encouragement without worshiping it. A mirror is a witness, not a deity. Then comes refinement. Beauty as a mirror is not a trap to keep you checking. It is a teacher to keep you growing. Your glow has a gravity, and gravity pulls all kinds. Some will approach with honor, some with hunger that never learned manners. The mirror will show you what your presence awakens in others, and what others awaken in you. When a glance tempts you to perform, the mirror is asking for deeper security. When praise tempts you to trade truth for popularity, the mirror is asking for deeper allegiance. When longing rises cleanly in your body without bargaining for your soul, the mirror is inviting you to bless your aliveness and walk at the pace of wisdom. Each moment is a polish. Each honest choice clears another smudge you didn't know was there. Practice a brief ritual with the glass each morning. Not the anxiety ritual of fault-finding, a liturgy of alignment. Place your hand on your heart and speak to your reflection as if it were a dear friend entrusted to your care. Say what is true and therefore anchoring. You are not a product, you are a person. You are not for consumption, you are for communion. Your light is not bait, it is a beacon, and beacons belong to harbors, not markets. Then step away before the mirror devolves into comparison. Let the rest of your proof happen in the day you live. There is also a communal mirror, the one held up by the eyes of others. The gaze they offer you reflects their stories as much as yours. Some see through lenses scratched by scarcity and will try to turn your radiance into a competition they need to win. Some see through lenses washed by grace and will let their admiration become intercession. Receive neither flattery nor suspicion as final truth. Thank the kind eyes. Forgive the hungry ones without feeding them your boundaries. Bless the world that cannot decide if beauty is a danger or a doctrine, and then demonstrate a third way. Beauty is blessing. Chosen ones teach this by how they walk. Head high, hands open, steps ordered, hearts undefended but well defended. If old scripts rise, the ones that taught you to dim to stay safe or dazzle to stay noticed, let the mirror bear witness to their end. You have learned that shrinking convinces no one and swelling converts no one. Standing at your rightful height, on the other hand, becomes a measuring stick for others to find their own. In your company, people will remember softness that does not apologize and strength that does not threaten. That is what beauty as a mirror should do. Not make others feel small, but make them feel true. In the evening, the mirror will ask one last gentle question. Did your radiance host peace or harvest attention? Answer without shame. Adjust without drama. Bless the face that worked, prayed, created, told the truth, and refused to be rented by any room. Then turn off the light with gratitude. Beauty did its job today because you did yours. Chosen ones, visibility is voltage, and voltage requires insulation. This month your presence is amplified by God, which means your responsibility is too. Attraction is not merely the magnet in the room, it is also the magnifying glass. What you say will sound larger. What you model will travel farther. What you permit will be repeated by people who take cues from you without telling you they are watching. None of this is reason to be afraid, it is reason to be exact. Responsibility is not the enemy of joy. It is the container that makes joy safe to serve. Begin with the oldest hierarchy, up, in, out, and down the line of time. Up is your accountability to God. Keep the vertical line clear. Speak with Him before you perform for anyone. Ask for the daily portion of wisdom that keeps zeal from becoming a wildfire. Tell the truth about your appetites so they do not go looking for governance in lesser courts. In is your accountability to yourself. Hold a private audit that no applause can bribe. Are my choices clean? Is my pace sustainable? Is my love truthful? Out is your accountability to those who feel your weather. The friend who trusts your counsel. The team that borrows your steadiness. The stranger whose day can be made or marred by your tone. Down the line is your accountability to the future. Children and students and unnamed souls who will inherit your culture long after your moment is past. Attraction pushes influence through all four directions at once. Stewardship keeps them aligned. Language will be the first proof. Words spoken from a lit heart carry heat. Make sure they carry light. Refuse insinuation. Refuse half-truths that make you look holy and others small. Refuse the performative humility that is only pride with a softer coat. Prefer specificity that heals. Prefer silence when you are tempted to share what has not finished becoming wisdom. Prefer questions that open people to themselves. What do you need to feel safe telling the truth? What would be the cleanest version of yes or no here? What would honor your tomorrow, not only your today? Attraction may draw ears, responsibility must dignify them. Touch will be the second proof, and by touch, I mean proximity in all its forms. DMs, lingering after events, the angle of your chair, the time you offer. Let consent become your climate. Consent is not the paperwork that ruins romance. It is the poetry that makes love possible. You will be tempted to blur lines in the name of spontaneity. Your future will thank you for keeping them crisp. You will be tempted to accept every overture because it feels unspiritual to decline admiration. Your calling will thank you for declining cleanly. No one who is good for your soul will be diminished by your boundaries. Watchers who are trained by your life will be enlarged by the example. There is also responsibility for the temperature of the room. When your brightness rises, others may grow performative to keep up. Use your influence to slow the tempo, to let quieter gifts be heard, to reward honesty over charisma. You can do this without becoming a referee. Ask better of the circle. Normalize statements like, "Let's not make entertainment out of intimacy," and "Affirmation is free here, access is earned," and "We can pause until this can be kind." People will exhale because you chose climate over spectacle. This is how chosen ones make rooms safer without advertising their authority. Do not neglect the responsibility of rest. The spotlight is a stimulant. It will trick you into thinking you can sleep later because you are living the moment now. Later never arrives for exhausted souls. Sabbath the spotlight. Put your phone in a different room and let your eyes wean from being seen. Eat slowly. Go where no one knows your name and let the ground tell you who you are by the way it holds you without clapping. This is not retreat from duty, it is refueling for it. Power without rest becomes predatory even in well-meaning hands. Power with rest becomes protective. Generosity is part of responsibility, but generosity without discernment becomes grooming, giving to gain leverage. Protect the purity of your giving. Give where you would give if no one would ever know. Give in ways that do not entangle people with debts they cannot repay. When your help is declined, let it be declined without offense. When your help is accepted, ask what help looks like to the person receiving it. Do not buy the shorter path to gratitude by skipping their agency. The stewardship of attraction is not to collect dependents, it is to cultivate adults. Prepare an apology before you need it. Not the performance that secures sympathy, the practice that secures repair. I was wrong. I am changing this behavior starting now. Here's how you can hold me accountable if I drift. This language is the seatbelt your influence wears. It tells the world you are more committed to being good than to looking good, more committed to truth than to a brand. There is no stronger magnetism than a life that tells the truth, especially when telling it costs something. Finally, hold a holy indifference to outcomes that compromise your integrity. Opportunities will come that glitter like destiny and vanish like dew if you insist on being whole. Let them vanish. Influence that requires you to lie about who you are is not influence, it is indenture. You will not sign those contracts, spoken or silent. The favor on you this month is not fragile. It will find the doors that can hold its weight. Your task is simply to remain the kind of person God can trust with crowds. Clean in motive, careful in power, quick to bless, quicker to withdraw from harm, gentle without becoming vague, strong without becoming cruel. Walk forward, then with your face toward the one who lit you and your hands ready for usefulness. Attraction will keep arriving like tide. Responsibility will keep giving it shorelines. In that meeting place, lives change without anyone needing to be conquered, and rooms glow without anyone getting burned. This is how chosen ones carry months like these. They turn visibility into visibility for others, and the light they are becomes the light they give. Chosen one, attractiveness often tempts the soul to transact. Compliments arrive as invoices. Interest swells on every kindness, and you find yourself paying with explanations you never owed. But receiving is not debt, receiving is discipleship. This month, God has not only increased how others see you, He is schooling you in how you see gifts. The glow is drawing offerings toward you, large and small, an unasked for favor, a seat at a table you once knocked on, a glance that says you matter without audition, a door that opens because your name has been spoken well in rooms you did not enter. The old reflex wants to repay immediately so you will not owe, to give back double so no one thinks you're taking advantage, to dim so attention won't multiply. Breathe. Let generosity be what it says it is, free. Practice the holy sentence that heals the nervous system of hustlers and survivors alike. Thank you. Not a performance of gratitude, not a paragraph of reasons you don't deserve it. Just the clean acceptance that allows both the giver and the gift to keep their dignity. Learning to receive means unlearning counterfeit contracts. There is a form of admiration that smuggles entitlement, that demands access because it offered applause. You will feel it press at your edges. Receiving does not mean surrendering discretion. You can accept affirmation without renting your soul. You can drink from a spring without handing over the well. If a gift arrives with strings, trace the strings and place them gently back in the giver's hands. You will be called difficult by those who mistake your life for a marketplace. You will be called free by those who were waiting for a model of what acceptance without entanglement looks like. Receiving is not passivity, it is priesthood. You bless what is clean and return what is coercive. You remain a steward of the altar, not the accountant of every eye that rests on you. There is another practice, quieter and more revolutionary. Receive your own body. When energy surges and the mirror tells you truth, the easiest move is to weaponize it or to fear it. God is asking for a third way, reverence. You can honor the warmth in your skin, the strength in your gaze, the rhythm in your step, without handing any of it to spectacle. Welcome your body as a partner in purpose instead of a prop for attention. When desire rises in you, receive it as information instead of indictment. Ask it what it wants to build, where it wants to bless, which covenant it longs for, what story it refuses to betray. The answers will refine your yes and protect your no. You will feel less at war with yourself because you are no longer negotiating against your own aliveness. Receiving is also letting provision change your posture. Scarcity trained you to clutch, to apologize for needing, to ration joy as if delight were a depleting resource. Abundance trains different muscles. It invites you to sit back into the chair of your calling rather than perching on the edge in case you must flee. It teaches you to schedule rest before you deserve it. It persuades you to accept help from trustworthy hands so your excellence is sustainable instead of sacrificial. This month, when support appears, do not interrogate it to death. Test it, then take it. If a friend offers to edit your draft, let them. If a mentor offers a warm introduction, accept it with clarity about your values. If a partner offers to carry part of the load you have always shouldered alone, allow it and watch how love grows when it is permitted to lift. There is a tenderness to receiving that mends what striving could not. The child in you who learned that affection arrives with a bill will watch these days with narrowed eyes. Invite that child to sit beside you as you accept goodness and remain yourself. Show them there is a world in which love does not invoice dignity, in which delight does not demand repayment, in which belonging cannot be repossessed. You will not convince that child with speeches. You will convince them by letting good things land and not forfeiting your boundaries to keep them. Each unbothered thank you is a stone in the path toward a gentler future. Receiving also has a rhythm that guards holiness. Not everything that comes to you should stay. Not everything that leaves you should be chaste. Ask simple discerning questions in prayer when gifts arrive at your door. Will keeping this strengthen my devotion or dilute it? Will saying yes here cost me what tomorrow needs? Will this honor the image of God in me and in the giver? If the answers are clean, open your hands. If they are cloudy, bless and pass. You are not starving anymore. You do not have to eat every offering placed in front of you. Hunger once taught you speed, health will teach you taste. Practice receiving beauty without converting it into bargaining. Let the compliment be a flower on your table, not a collar on your neck. Let the gaze from across the room be a reminder that you are alive, not a command to perform. Let the open door be a route towards service, not a stage for proving you should have been invited sooner. In this economy, attention becomes air rather than currency. You breathe it, you do not hoard it. You move through it, you do not mortgage your integrity to keep it flowing. The people who were born to bless you will relax around this version of you because there is no trap in your thank you and no ledger behind your smile. Finally, receive God. Not the idea of Him, not the schedule slot with His name on it. The present, unbargainable presence that keeps lighting you. Sit long enough for silence to notice you. Let Scripture find its way from your mouth into your bones. Let worship overtake the part of you that still thinks you must earn the right to be radiant. This is the deepest receiving, allowing love to define you more loudly than longing does. When you stand, the approvals and invitations of the day will feel smaller than the certainty already settling behind your ribs. And that is the point. You were not made to be fueled by crowds. You were made to be fueled by communion. Receiving reorders the power grid. Now walk out and let everything that reaches for you meet a person who knows how to accept what is holy and decline what is not without losing either grace or gravity. Chosen one, radiance is not a season to be survived or exploited. It is a skill to be stewarded. The light on you this month is rehearsal for altitude. Higher in the kingdom is not a balcony above other people. It is a wider field of usefulness, a longer table, a steadier flame. You do not climb by stepping on backs. You rise by stepping on practices. The brightness you carry will unveil shortcuts that glitter like destiny and end like detours. It will also illuminate a path that looks older, slower, truer. Choose that one. The world loves meteors because they make wishes dramatic. God loves constellations because they make navigation possible. Constellations are made by repeated faithful light. Rising higher in radiance means your yes becomes weight-bearing and your no becomes weather. Your yes builds rooms where tired souls can rest without audition. Your no moves storms away from fragile work before the shingles rip. Neither word needs explanation at this altitude. They need consistency. Let people learn you by your repetitions. You leave meetings with dignity still intact. You end late-night messages before honesty runs out of breath. You court delight without mortgaging tomorrow's clarity. You keep Sabbath even when demand swells, especially when demand swells, because the future you are building will not be architected by adrenaline. Humility is the harness that keeps radiance from becoming wreckage. The ancient temptation is to believe that attention equals authority. It does not. Authority is earned in the quiet math of integrity plus time. Keep doing the arithmetic. When your name is praised in rooms you have not entered, Bless the room and refuse the narcotic. When criticism arrives dressed like prophecy, listen for the sentence that is true and discard the theater. When platforms offer you reach at the price of truth, remember that the hands that lifted you here will not hold lies, not even well-written ones. You are not in danger of being too bright. You are in danger of being bright without ballast. Ballast is built from confession, counsel, and the habit of choosing clean over clever when they diverge. Rising higher requires a renewed relationship with anonymity. Seek it on purpose. There must be hours in your week where your light does not need witnesses to prove it is real. Go to the river with no camera. Cook for people who cannot advance your career. Sit with a child and let them set the pace. Learn something difficult and be bad at it long enough to remember that excellence is a pilgrimage. These hidden investments keep fame from becoming your favorite food. They also enlarge your soul so that when honor comes, you do not eat it raw. Honor should be cooked slowly into service. There is a scale to maintain, bright enough to guide, dim enough to listen. People will lean toward you with their unsorted stories because your glow promises safety. Make that promise true. Do not turn others' confessions into your content. Do not mine their gratitude for your self-worth. Let your presence be a room with windows, not a vault. The best leaders are well lit and low shelved. You can see them and you can reach them. If ever your calendar fills so loudly that you can no longer hear pain at ordinary volume, return to ground immediately. The height you want cannot be purchased at the price of becoming unreachable. Your relationships will evolve at altitude. Some will reveal that they loved your dimness because it made their shadows feel taller. Some will flourish because they were waiting for you to stop pretending you are smaller than God made you. Bless both outcomes. Do not shrink to keep history comfortable. Do not swell to punish it. Keep your gait. The ones who are yours will match it. The ones who are not will fall away without needing you to write a villain. Radiance brings clarity, and clarity is merciful even when it is not painless. Legacy becomes a daily discipline here. You used to ask what you could accomplish in a month. Now you ask what culture you are installing that will still be holding when your name has rotated out of the feed. Culture is simply repeated choices that behave like policy. Name them to yourself. In my spaces, truth does not humiliate. In my leadership, speed never outruns consent. In my family, affection is free and access is earned. In my worship, private obedience outranks public fervor. Live those lines quietly until they become furniture. People will enter and instinctively set down their burdens because the room tells them where to sit. Radiance will also ask you to expand your intercession. Your eyes see farther now. Aim them farther. Pray for the unknowns who will walk into your light and mistake it for their salvation. Ask God to direct them to Himself, to build in them a center that cannot be outsourced to your presence. Pray for those who covet what you carry and are tempted to steal by mimicry what can only be given by formation. Ask for gentleness that corrects when you must, and for restraint that refuses to turn your discernment into theater. Pray for the courage to disappear when your staying would make you an idol, and for the courage to stay when your leaving would abandon a work God asked you to complete. Do not be surprised when tests revisit you under better lighting. The same temptations knock, now dressed better. Attention that calls itself partnership, urgency that calls itself opportunity, flattery that calls itself prophecy. The answers have not changed. The triad remains as trustworthy as ever. Clean, sustainable, loving without lying. There will be days when the clean choice looks like loss. At altitude, loss can be a form of lift. You shed weight that would have kept you circling a lower sky. There will be days when sustainability looks like smallness. At altitude, smallness can be a form of strength. You stop scattering and start penetrating. There will be days when loving without lying requires a no that trembles. At altitude, trembling is not failure. It is humanity touching holiness and saying, "Even so, I obey." What happens when this month ends and the voltage returns to ordinary levels? Nothing essential changes. You will have practiced carrying light with accuracy. You will have built channels through which future surges can travel without flooding your life. You will have installed habits that keep your radiance from being seasonal. The world may not notice the shift. God and your body will. Your sleep will tell on you. Your work will deepen. Your laughter will relax. Your heart will trust that it does not need to be spectacular to be faithful. If the brightness swells again, you will not panic or preen. You will simply extend the borders of the same garden and keep tending. Lift your head and look at the horizon from here. You can see paths you could not see from the valley. You can see other beacons, chosen ones in distant cities, each lit for their own assignment, each learning the ethics of glow. Wave without envy. Bless without analysis. Keep your lamp trimmed. The world does not need a single sun. It needs a constellation of trustworthy lights. You are one of them now. Not because you shone the brightest for a month, but because you learned to shine rightly, to receive cleanly, to refuse manipulation, to build, to bless, to rest, to remain. Go on then, radiant and rooted. Let the light on your face be a map to the light in your life. Let your life be a map to the light that made you. Rise higher, not to hover, but to help. Rise higher, not to escape, but to extend shelter. Rise higher, not to prove you can, but because God asked, and obedience at altitude still sounds like the sweetest answer. Yes. Chosen one, a future is not an accident, it's a design. For years it felt like your brother's noise drafted the blueprints and everyone else simply moved into the rooms. But God has placed the pencil in your hand and taught you to draw in the scale of peace. You are not improvising survival anymore, you are composing a culture. The materials are ordinary and holy at once. A morning that begins with gratitude spoken out loud, a kitchen where questions have chairs, a front door that can open wide without losing the strength to close. These are not decorations. They are load-bearing beams for generations you may never meet. You begin by choosing time as your first ally. You no longer let urgency hire you without an interview. Days are scheduled to keep souls fed, not merely calendars full. There's a rhythm now, Sabbath that arrives on purpose, work that honors your limits, meals that begin with blessing and end without a debate about who deserves to be loved. You discover that the future learns from repetition. What repeats becomes law. So you repeat what is true until even the walls memorize it. We repair here, we rest here, we tell the truth here. Children, friends, and even the tired parts of your own heart start trusting the floor. You write a family constitution with actions instead of signatures. In it, dignity is non-negotiable. Anger may tell the truth, but not as a tyrant. Apologies are specific, and repair has receipts measured in changed behavior. Celebration is shared without costuming anyone as the loser. When conflict visits, it is seated at the table only if it is willing to use utensils. You don't announce these rules like a sheriff, you embody them like a steward. The future believes what you live more than what you frame and hang. Money becomes a sacrament of wisdom, not a theater for control. You design budgets that tell anxiety to go, tend a smaller garden. You give, you save, you spend without bribing tomorrow for permission to enjoy today. Scarcity had trained your nervous system to hoard affection and receipts. Generosity retrains it to hold things lightly. This is not recklessness. It is reverence for the God who multiplies loaves and days when you refuse to multiply drama. You craft rituals that turn thresholds into altars. There is a blessing at the entrance and a blessing at the exit. There is a way you look each person in the eye when they arrive, and a way you release them when they leave, so no one has to guess if they are welcome. You fold napkins like small promises. You keep a candle by the sink and light it when grief washes dishes beside you. You keep a notebook near the door and write the names of people you are learning to love on difficult days, not to keep score, but to keep interceding. In a house like this, the future doesn't just visit, it commits. You plant an orchard where the field used to be a battlefield. Trees anchored by practices, fruit ripened by patience. The tree called boundaries bears safety. The tree called honesty bears trust. The tree called joy bears resilience. The tree called rest bears clarity. You tend them in every season, mulching in winter with silence that heals, pruning in spring with conversations that protect growth, staking in summer with mentors who steady the trunk, harvesting in autumn with feasts that teach gratitude as a language, not a performance. Your brother's storms will blow across this orchard. You do not negotiate with weather. You deepen roots. You commit your wisdom to an archive the next generation can reach without finding dominoes of pain stacked against them. You write letters labeled on anger, on repair, on choosing work that doesn't eat you, on love that doesn't lie. You record voice notes on your phone after hard days and file them under maps. You do this not because you are sentimental, but because you are an architect of mercy. When life knocks the breath out of someone you love, your future will hand them an envelope and say, "Read this, breathe, try again." You practice fellowship that doesn't depend on sameness. Guests from different stories sit at your table and are not asked to audition for belonging. You learn names as if they were seeds and pronounce them like rain. The room learns how to hold tension without turning it into a trophy. The future notices that unity for you does not mean uniformity. It means a commitment to protect each image of God while telling the truth that sets all of us free.